Hello, and we are live. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Howdy. I love hearing all your accents. So, for those that don't know, some of this team know each other, have worked on projects before. Some haven't, and so it's quite interesting for me hearing people's accents for the first time, having chatted with them on Discord for a few months. So, I think the best way to start this, the traditional way, we'll just go round, everyone introduce themselves, and we'll talk about sort of who we are and how we got involved in this project and what we do when we're not running charity events. I'd just like to thank everyone for listening in and joining. I hope you enjoyed the game of cats. I did. It was pun-tastic. I'm not sure every game will be that pun heavy, and I think next time I might make a donation myself to stop the puns. But that's just my personal preference.
Yeah, it wasn't real punny, was it?
Oh dear, please.
No, I think it was perfect.
Moving swiftly on. So, no, thank you so much, everyone, for joining and for everything that you've done so far to put this together. My name is Chris Cooke. I am fairly new to disability and accessibility issues, but I started playing Dungeons and Dragons with a blind friend during lockdown, and through that sort of like introduced me to a lot of the problems and difficulties that the community faces. And so I thought I'd see what could be done to raise awareness in this area and see who we could help if we teamed up. And thankfully, I bumped into a bunch of lovely people such as yourselves. Who wants to go next and introduce themselves?
Well, if you're looking for lovely people, I know you ain't talking about me. It's got to be Jacob. So I'll let him go first.
I'm not so sure about lovely, but my name is Jacob Wood, and I am the owner of Accessible Games. I've come to this project because I've been doing accessibility in tabletop gaming since 2010, and it's something that I've been very passionate about. I'm a blind tabletop game designer, and I create not only tabletop games that are accessible for people, but I also teach other publishers how to produce games that are more accessible. I work with my publishing partner, Todd Crapper, to make PDFs and EPUB files that are screen reader friendly. And right now on our Kickstarter Survival of the Able, we're also pledging to make our printed books in several different font formats to give accessible options even in print. So it's something that I've been very passionate about, and I really look forward to seeing how this whole event is able to kind of raise that awareness in the entire community to the next level.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll definitely get on to readability with PDFs because I know it's something we've all bumped into over the last few years. But just quickly, I'll say that if you want to check out Survival of the Able Ashcan, the module that you've written, that will be tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and we've got a really good group of people that you'll be playing that game with, including Elisa Pearl, just really looking forward to seeing it play in the wild, so to speak. We've also got Rin from Star Trek Discovery. I don't know if we have any Star Trek nerds in the house, but it'd be very exciting to see that as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Who's up next?
Richard.
I really kind of got forced into this role because I'm not one of those people that like to be put in the forefront. I'm more on the outskirts and fringes of things, but I'm cool with that. Jim and I have, over the past year or so, year and a half, have started taking documents and, made them accessible. And he has, I think, more or less given me the responsibility of like co-ownership of Knights of the Braille, which, I'm not really happy about, but it's because of the responsibility. But hey, I love the imagination aspect of, role play gaming. Wasn't never really much of a role play gamer whenever I was younger, but now it's like, hey, I want to do something. I don't play video games, and I really love it. And, I want to make it where anybody can do it, regardless of what their disability is. And, like I said, I've been doing it for about a year and a half now, and have been running a group for about the same amount of time. So it's a lot of fun, and really enjoying it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And I can't get over that accent. Sorry. Like I say, I've just been chatting to you in Discord, and it's lovely to hear such a warm Southern twang.
One
Yeah, you don't
accent.
sound anything like your text.
It's y'all that have the accent, not me.
I was reading you in the Queen's English, so I had a very different impression.
I know it's a lie then. But in fact, Jacob and I have been in contact before because I've written for his magazine, and I think, Jacob, you told me that you took like hours and hours and hours to edit the way that I wrote because, as I told you, I don't speak correct English, so therefore I don't write correct English. So
It's all good. We have to edit every word that comes through.
Exactly. But hey, it works, But it is what it is. I'm sitting here as I talk to you all, especially since this is being streamed, and I'm really having to concentrate on what I say and how I say it so that you all can hopefully understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm getting most of it. Thank you very much, Richard. Phil, have you recovered yet from your catastic game?
Yes, it was absolutely perfect.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I'll give you that. But bless you for going first. I think that was a tough challenge.
I think I'd like to think that everybody on chat treated me and everybody else very well, and they were very welcoming to me and the party in this first part of the event. So between a really good party and chat being very cool and also generous to the causes we're supporting, the charities we're supporting, it was a great time, and I wouldn't trade it for any amount of restfulness, right? Of being less tired. So who am I? I'm mostly Blind Gamer, which is a handle I started using on Reddit a few years ago, and now I found a post one time by Jim from Knights of the Braille talking about the Knights of Braille, community, a group of blind, visually impaired, and sighted tabletop RPG players and game masters and dungeon masters. And I'd always kind of wanted to get into Dungeons and Dragons, but between the friction of it feeling like a complicated game to get into, and the friction of just really everyday life, being visually impaired, I never really got into it. So I welcomed that opportunity with Knights of the Braille. Found a great bunch of people between Jim, Richard, who ended up running a fantastic Star Wars 5th edition campaign for me and some other cool people. Meeting all these people, getting into the whole community and even the wider community of TTRPGs, and finding that this stuff that I assumed would be super accessible to me and other visually impaired people was a little less so. I got into converting some documents too, because sometimes people make things for print and lots of things. I have this thing I call the things gorgeous sometimes, and that's code for utterly inaccessible. And I was given an opportunity to try and do something about that. So here I am. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. Look, before we get into our frustrations with documents from some mainstream publishers, I just want to give a round of applause, slow clap for Tecera, the unsung hero of this whole thing. while I'm standing in the front ground saying, me, look at me, hey, Tecera is there making sure the whole thing works. So thank you so much. Would you like to introduce yourself? Yeah, superb. No, it's good. So yeah, has that been the sort of plan for you to get a Discord bot working for visually impaired people?
Well, guess we'll just do it like this. Can everyone say something? No. Damn it. Well, sometimes you break stuff. I guess.
Focused, I'm sure.
There we go.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I'll just I just want the
Superb.
captions, so that's too bad.
Okay, well, now's the best time for technical difficulties. As long as it goes smooth when the real celebrities are on, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
So, could you tell us a little bit about the bot you've been working on?
Yeah, so I made this bot. It's called Raftbot, and it rolls dice. But the problem with that specific system, Wrath and Glory, is that it rolls 6 dice, and then it does like weird stuff, like you need to roll over things and you need to count stuff. So it's a lot of math, and well, people don't like math, so let's make it easier with a bot. And yeah, so that's what I've been working on, and it works pretty well.
Awesome,
And,
thank you.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. It's a big thing I found, especially with new visually impaired players. For those that aren't familiar with the space, how accessible is the Dungeon Master's Guide, the player's handbook, for a blind person wanting to get started with Dungeons and Dragons?
Do you mean from someone who's totally blind or someone with low vision?
Well, yeah, let's hear about both.
Okay, because I think I'm the only one that's totally blind on the panel. For me, I use D&D Beyond, and it's actually the only thing that's really accessible out there is the players, the books that you buy out there. They're 100% accessible, except for the pictures, of course, which, stands to reason. Not many blind people that I know of send pictures. I take pictures all the time whenever I go on vacation and everything, but as far as like reading the material, it's 100% accessible. Now the character creation part of it is just not.
Yeah. And are there any other options out there for character creation?
There is a D&D bot that I managed to find through, I'll say hours and hours of searching, but it was actually like an accidental find from Google that we have added to the Knights of the Braille Discord, that you can create a character through it. It takes you step by step. and will roll the dice and everything for you. And with the premium version of it, you can export it to PDF. Whether or not that PDF is accessible, I'm not sure, but I know the basic default PDFs of other things are not usually accessible.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that was my main sort of hurdle I ran into when trying to help my completely blind friend get started with D&D. Was it was that character creation thing, and I think one of the main things I'd like to come from this event is that we build awareness around that problem and get a bunch of people making a lot of noise online to some of the bigger publishers saying, hey, could you make an accessible character creator? Because what we'll hopefully show over the next couple of days is that the blind and partially sighted community are a very welcome contribution to the D&D community, very fun to play with, very fun to have as dungeon masters, and they've all worked hard to get here, and I wish it wasn't so hard. And these big companies have the resources. I think with a bit of work, they really could lower down the elevator, so to speak, and help people on board.
Exactly, and that's the thing. And I'll shut up after this. It was accessible whenever I first started playing, and they did a update, and then it's not accessible anymore. And they've known about it for 1.5 years now.
That's always the tricky thing with software updates too, and I used to be the type of person who would beta test whatever came my way because I loved playing with new toys and tools in the computer. But anytime somebody updates something nowadays, I have to wonder if I'm even going to be able to access it at all. And that happened with 5th edition D&D. They released the basic set in PDF, and that PDF was completely unreadable, even though I've been making accessible PDFs for years. And so it has been a struggle just to make sure that people are using the tools and techniques that are out there. And like Chris was saying, the resources are there, but they're not being utilized, whether that's for lack of knowledge or lack of care, I can't say. But it's certainly something that needs more awareness, and I too hope that we can raise that awareness through this event.
Yeah, the big thing I found, when we started, there's quite a few blind and partially sighted developers in this team, and we were talking about, maybe we could do it ourselves if they won't do it. But the problem is, as people are aware, you can work very hard making an add-on, Chrome extension or what have you, right? And then as soon as they make an update and change something, the whole thing breaks. And so it will always be a never-ending game of cat and mouse with an organization that has a lot more resources than this plucky team of volunteers. So the big thing I've noticed as well, being active on Twitter in this space, is that sort of every Disability Pride Month, all these companies will tweet the right things, right? Like make the right noises. But then there's people in the background being like, yeah, hi, just so you know, we've been making you aware of how you could make your platform more accessible for the last 2 years, and no one's replying to our support tickets. So I hopefully we can come together, not just for this event, but continuing on into the future, and just become a growing and consistent, harder and harder to ignore voice to make clear that here's some things we need. And as I say, the big thing I've heard again and again and again is character creation, which obviously is quite an important first step to getting involved in these games.
If you'll let me by no means do a deep dive, but get a couple of words in here on a technical level, so our audience knows what we're talking about. And Jacob made an excellent point that things used to be better. The basics of the internet, the core of it is accessible. Every computer knows on every level what a paragraph is, and what a link is, what a button is, what a checkbox is. They all know what a table is, and given enough information about it, they'll allow you to navigate it in a way that gets you the information you need. But sometimes but people do things that aren't the basics for a variety of reasons. One of them being using frameworks that either are not built from the ground up to be accessible, or that they don't necessarily put in the time investment to understand how to use in a way that will create an accessible result. And another point is sometimes almost malicious in protecting their copyright, and we find that in PDFs. So this isn't. We don't need new technology. We don't need artificial intelligence. We barely even need, a crazy investment in development. All we need is for developers, for publishers to be nice, and to think about the people they're trying to reach and how what they're doing, if they follow the rules that they are and should be aware of, they can reach pretty much everybody, right? So it's not a matter of inventing anything or necessarily a huge investment. It's starting from wherever you start from. It's having the goal of being accessible. That will get you an accessible product. And just one quick note about that: there's also the matter of situational disability. So something that's low contrast isn't just hard to read for people with low vision. It's also hard to read for people who are reading it out in the sun, right? Something with small type, same thing. A website you get into that suddenly blasts music at you is going to be distracting for absolutely anybody, confusing for most people. It'll be nearly impossible to use for a screen reader user, of course. Right? Video content with no captioning whatsoever is inaccessible to deaf people and to people who are hard of hearing. But aren't we all used to watching videos on our phones outside, right? Sometimes you don't have headphones, and if you have captions, you can still follow along, right? So if you make your content accessible, that's the thing. You could make your content accessible to everyone, right? That's my point here, really.
Yeah, that's the main thing I've really learned from working with you all. Many of you are entrepreneurs, business owners yourselves, so no one's asking for companies to lose millions of dollars here. It really is a simple case of there is a large target audience that's currently uncatered for. In most business terms, that would be seen as an opportunity, right? And for quite modest investments and work in the right space, you're opening up to a lot bigger potential audience. And is it 1 in 10 people registered as disabled? There's a lot of people currently underserved and let down a bit.
So according to the CDC, 1 in 4 Americans pretty much has some kind of disability.
There you go. So yeah, a big opportunity there. And as you say so succinctly, Phil, making things accessible, good UX, easy to see at a glance, right? Benefits everyone, the wider community. It's just better practice and should be considered. I can see you nodding along, Jacob.
Yeah, good universal design is good accessible design. They go hand in hand.
Yeah, excellent. Gents, we'll get into more of it later, I think. We've got a few more panels coming up, some on accessibility in video games, some on accessibility in tabletop role-playing games, some by developers on accessible game design. So it'd be good just in the last 10 minutes to go around and ask everyone what they're most looking forward to over the next couple of days, what sort of events they like the look of, and if anyone else is doing anything else, and where we can all follow you and updates on what you're working on in the future. Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll start.
Sure.
You can find me as at Accessible Games on Twitter, or Accessible Games pretty much anywhere else. My website is www.accessiblegames.biz, because .com was unfortunately taken by the terrible internet trolls that have existed for eons. And I am currently running a Kickstarter for Survival of the Able, which I'm excited to be running tomorrow at 7 p.m. You can find that on Kickstarter. So check that out. Certainly feel free to follow along and join us tomorrow night.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jacob. Look forward to it. Phil, are you playing or DMing anymore? What games are you looking forward to?
Oh no, I grow weary of the puns. I cannot take more puns. That being said, I will.
You will what?
Sorry. Computer popped up a network error.
No, you're still very much with us.
It was black on red, which is inaccessible to people with black-red color blindness. So there you go. Anyway, I will be part of a panel run by Richard later today at 6 p.m.
6 till 7, yeah.
Yeah, that's community and gaming. I feel very strongly about this. I feel like, well, obviously we'll get into it at the time. But you know, one of the things that brought me here was the community, right? The Knights of the Braille community. That element is very important to me in the whole TTRPG scene. After that, tomorrow at 10 a.m. Is that correct? That is. Okay. I just don't want to give anybody bad information. At 10 a.m., I will be moderating a panel on accessibility in gaming. So really video games. Well, video, audio, what have you. And the panelists will be Josh Straub from Dagger System, Samuel Proul from Fable, Sightless Combat, who, if you caught up with the game earlier, you watched, and Brandon Cole, Super Blind Man, of The Last of Us Part 2 consulting fame.
Superb. Yeah, brilliant. Look forward to it. And is there anything else you have to sell and promote? Where can we follow you? Or are you just doing this from the goodness of your heart?
Well, I mean, you can find me on @blind mostly on Twitter, and mostly Blind Gamer on various Discord servers. You might find me posting tweets about weird accessibility situations in websites here and there. So
varying degrees of frustration depending on your mood and the amount of coffee you've had that day.
Yes. Not naming names in general, but yeah.
Several times I've had to ask Phil to play nice. I've said, like, before the event, let's be nice. Everyone's a potential sponsor. After the event, I'll let him off the leash. He can snap at some people that have been annoying him.
Pressure's building.
Well, thank you so much, Phil. I'll just say quickly, it's been an absolute pleasure to work with you, and I hope we do a few more of these events. Maybe once a year is enough, but definitely, yeah, look forward to working with you on more stuff in the future.
Absolutely.
Thank you. It might be Richard's turn.
Yeah, now that we can get Phil to be quiet, right? I give Phil a hard time. Him and I are coffee buddies because he knows I'll get up at 2:00 in the morning my time, and he'll send me a coffee recipe, and I'll try it. But you can find me on Twitter at RichardBean83, RichardBean83. I'm on Facebook, Richard Bennett. You can email me, DellJuniorFan83 at gmail.com. Discord is, what is my Discord? Bean7483, then the number sign 1561. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I know I had the panel, and then I had to the panel this afternoon, and then I'm doing some audio stuff for a couple of games for Surviving the Able Ashcan tomorrow. Which for anybody who hasn't played in it, I actually got to play in it last year, Jacob, I think. And
yeah, I think it was last October.
Yeah, and it is a lot of fun. I got to play a person who was mute, so that was quite a challenge to be someone with a disability playing someone with a disability. But we're just really waiting to turn Phil loose, because I've followed him and have listened to a lot of his tweets and have talked back and forth with him some. But it's been a great pleasure to talk with you all, to meet you all. And really looking forward to this event. And I was supposed to have the morning off, but if you know me, I'm going to call people out. Chris hoodwinked me into playing music for a game tomorrow morning at 7:00. And like I said, I'll probably be up anyway, so I'll be here. And he has promised to send me coffee, so we'll see how it goes.
That should be a fun game. They're doing time travel as historical figures in the times of Vikings and monks.
Hey, Chris, really quick. Sorry to. I'm sure you want to wrap this up, but there's a question.
Phil wants us to overrun 20 minutes. So.
Yeah. There's a question here on Twitch chat from Facet Audio, asking what the best way is to make soundboards, mobile or native apps, accessible in terms of UI, UX. So here's the deal. I cannot give you specific answers about soundboards. What I can tell you is that in terms of native apps, Apple, Google, Microsoft, absolutely everybody has reference material on UI design. They all have human interaction or design guidelines. If you follow those, and if you read through, and if you understand, for instance, VoiceOver on iOS, that should always be your starting point, and that will be a solid starting point. In terms of non-native apps as well, web apps and such, there I will refer you to the WCAG guidelines. So WCAG, I believe we're currently on 2.1, which are guidelines for web accessibility. If you follow those, and if you test your stuff, you should be good. And as far as making custom web widgets, you should also look at a WAI-A-RIA. So YARIA, which is special tools for making custom JavaScript and whatnot widgets accessible. The reason I bring this on to this panel, it sounds so tremendously specific, is just to give everybody an example that the resources are out there, the techniques are out there, the education is out there. If you want to make your stuff accessible, if you start asking the questions, you'll get these answers, and it will happen. And thank you for asking the question, and get everybody else asking the same question and finding these resources.
Thank you, Phil. So I happen to know that Facet Audio are doing a lot for the cause, not only asking questions, but they've offered to sponsor this event. So they're making a donation to the charities, and they're also working in tandem with My Sound Delve. They've been working on a soundboard using disabled talents. Jennifer Kretschmer's one of the voice actors on it, and also making sounds for disabled characters, such as the combat wheelchair sounds and stuff like that. So it's very good to have them involved in the event and seeding questions in the Twitch stream to get a shout out. I respect the game. The marketing game is strong there. Well done.
Perfect.
I'm very much looking forward to the next game, which I'll talk about briefly. But Tecera, is there anything else you'd like to promote or that you're looking forward to over the next couple of days?
Well, looking at the preparation that everyone's been making, I'm really looking forward to Jewel of Reseda. The DM is really enthusiastic, and I think it'll be a really great game.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, we have coming up immediately now. Then our next game. I'll try our best not to overrun. So big up to everyone involved in that. We are having a Dungeons and Dragons game run by Runaway Robot. And in that we will see the players Terence Dry, the wonderful Felix Ernick, Radders, who it's her second game playing D&D. I played with her last week and she was very charming and hilarious. So very much looking forward to seeing her play. And Non-Compete, one of my favorite left tubers. I found the left tube community to be enormously generous and warm in their outreach towards minority groups and the disabled. So it's lovely to have such a charming and intelligent group of people volunteering to play and have a fun game. And that's the message here, really, is that gaming should be for everyone and for everyone to enjoy. People, it has been wonderful. Thank you all so much for helping me kick this off. We will see you on other games and other panels. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care, everyone. Enjoy the games.